my decluttering challenge and I'm so excited. We are going to be starting in my entryway today. I like to start here because then when I walk in and out of my house, I always feel like I'm leaving peace, I'm coming home to peace, and this is one of my favorite spots to start because I just feel like it makes an impact for my entire home. Welcome back to the channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Shauna and I love sharing easy decluttering and organizing tips. And this decluttering challenge is going to look a little bit different than my fall one. For the fall, I did an area of my home every day. And while I'm kind of doing that, a lot of you said that you wanted to do 5-minute chunks. So while I will be doing an entire area at once, I will also be showing you bite-sized chunks to make it fit into any schedule and how to make 5 minutes matter and make a really big impact on very little time. Overall, my mudroom does not look that bad. I was gone for over a week, so it probably hasn't been cleaned in a couple weeks just because I was so busy before leaving and then getting home. I just haven't had a time to deal with it. So we'll be doing that today as well. And I know that like in these baskets and like behind the curtains, things tend to lurk and just get put to be dealt with later. So I know I will find some things out here that need to be let go. It always surprises me how much stuff I can actually find decluttering. So let's get to it. You may have seen, I think it was my sunroom video or the plant bench video where Mason had just had surgery or was preparing for surgery. He just had his 1-month recheck today and he's doing so good. So good job, buddy. You're gonna live forever. Here's a quick before of our mudroom. Like I said, it really isn't that bad. It just looks like it needs a quick tidy, but I know there are things lurking in the shadows, so we need to get those taken care of today. But before we begin, whether you have a few minutes or a longer time, you always need to grab a box for donations, a bin for items that belong elsewhere in your house, and then garbage bags. I have one for the garbage can and then a big one for everything else. I like starting with garbage, whether you only have a few minutes or a longer time, because that is a quick, easy win. Even by just emptying the garbage can, this area looks so much better with only one thing. And then I'm going to work on sweeping the floor. This is a great way to knock out like it feels like a big item, but it's a really simple thing. We've had so many leaves blow into the house because of the wind and just being in and out. That's going to make the floor look so much better and less cluttered. And then into the bin is a snack that our neighbor left here last night when he was here hanging out with my son. If you only have a few minutes, I would not recommend going and cleaning under furniture, but because I'm doing my entire room today, I have the time to do this. But if we are just doing only a few minutes, you want to work on items that you can see. So think flat surfaces, or if you're in an entryway like this, coat racks, or, closets, like the closet coat bar, just things that you see right away, because that will make a really big impact. It's going to make you feel better. A lot of quick, easy wins. And it's just going to help you build your decluttering muscles to do the bigger projects later. Right now I'm moving over to our storage bench because I like to work in a clockwise pattern. So I always pick one spot in my room and then I just work clockwise around until I get back to that starting spot. I also love recommending, if you are buying furniture, things that double as storage. So I knew that even with the closet behind me, I needed extra storage. So we store our snow pants in here, both during the winter when they're dry after using them, or during the off season. I am actually going to get rid of a pair of these snow pants. You're going to see the camera shake for a second. My cat, very lovey today. It's his 12th birthday, so he was trying to rub up against my tripod. But one pair of snow pants is going to get washed and then put back in the bench later. And then another one, I'm actually putting in my donation box to send to a friend for her boys. Once I've gone through all of those, I'm going to put them back away and continue moving in that clockwise pattern. Now is something else that is easily visible. This is the bane of my existence in here. It drives me nuts. I have tried putting all of the balls and these toys, like outdoor toys, into our shed where they belong, but they always end up back in the mudroom. I've tried putting a basket in our garage, which is the next room over. They always end up in my mudroom. So I got a basket. It tucks in the corner. It works. If you can't beat them, join them kind of situation. And not only did my neighbor leave a snack, he left his scooter here yesterday. So I'm just setting that to the side because I know he'll be back today. And actually now later in the day, he definitely was back and grabbed his snack and his scooter. And then just continuing to move to something else that was visible that was driving me nuts. Our rock salt. We needed to refill the container, but it was one of those things I kept putting off, but then every time I saw the rock salt bag, it was driving me nuts. So really quick, easy fix. I'm filling up our container, and then I'm going to be able to fit the open bag next to the container in the little cubby. So going through the balls, making sure that there wasn't any sports gear that was broken or really could go to the shed, and then tidying up the rock salt. I'm really hoping I don't need that again here in Western New York. However, we woke up to snow this morning and it's supposed to snow again tomorrow. You never know. And then when I'm done putting this corner back together, I'm going to start working in our smaller baskets that are in these left shelves. If I only had 5 minutes to work out here, I would not be doing these. I would come back later and do these as a 5-minute task again later, see how many baskets I could get through. So each of the 5 family members have their own small cubby with a small basket for their everyday things for that season. And then along the top shelf of the closet, which you can't see in frame here, we each have a big basket. So it works out really well for us. We're not always going through things that we don't need that particular season. I'm not getting rid of anything in anybody's basket with one exception today. And that is because I really believe that everybody should have a say as to what they keep or not keep. But as I go through the baskets, you will see me changing things out for the season. All right, this little backpack, I love it. It's a Hufflepuff backpack. One of my best friends got it for me for my birthday, but I've never used it and it's been over a year. The reason I've never used it is because I don't have a small wallet. I just need a small wallet. But I keep forgetting to buy myself a small wallet, which I've been meaning to downsize anyway. And then I remember my one thing that I wanted today, no paper and a pencil. Because I know when I am done doing this, I am not going to remember that I want a small wallet. So anything that I know that I want or have, want to buy or have to ask my family questions about or anything like that, I'm writing it down so I remember later. That is something new that I'm trying to do. And the few times I've used it, it's really, really helped. So just continuing to go through everybody's baskets and put the winter things away and pull out the warmer weather items. Now I did say there was one item that I was getting rid of today that did not belong to me, and that is in my daughter's basket. So it is a pair of winter gloves. These are really nice winter gloves, but they are going to be too small for her. They don't fit me. We have very similar size hands, so I felt confident in the knowing she would be okay with me getting rid of them. If she was still a preteen, I would not have gotten rid of them without her permission. She's 20. It's okay to let them go. And then just continuing to switch things out for my boys. And then my cat has found a Croc shoe that he is obsessed with, so I'm trying to work around him. Found something that I was storing for a friend that I needed to get back to her. I'm putting my winter boots away. It's going to snow tomorrow. I am confident it is not going to be that bad that I need my snow boots, so I'm okay putting them away for the rest of the season. If you only have a few minutes to clean, taking care of shoe piles is a really good, quick, easy thing to do. to make a big impact, or even just organizing your coats and putting all the hangers together and then putting all the coats together so it just looks neater and tidier and less cluttered. Really quick, easy things that make a really big impact. Very easy to do when you don't have a lot of time, doesn't need a lot of energy. And as you can see, I really want to finish the shoes, but my cat, my son must have walked through a plant or something that he really liked, because he is all about those shoes today. Okay, so I'm going to get down, because sometimes that kind of discourages him from whatever he's doing, but he's like, no, give me scritchies, and then I found the other shoe. But then our other cat decided to come into the mudroom, and he was not okay with that. I think he got very protective of his shoes. Oh, our motion sensor light went off. If you don't have a motion sensor for your entryway, you need one. It's amazing. But as you can see, as soon as he sees that she's there, he's like, wait, hold on, I'm going to chase her away. Gave me the opportunity to finish tidying those shoes. And even just these little tiny things like organizing the hangers, tidying up the shoes, putting the rock salt bag away, it has made the whole room feel that much better. Once I'm done with the closet, I'm moving around that clockwise direction. Again, you only have a few minutes. Doing those items that you can see are great. I'm trying to take care of my son's soccer goal bag. It's you can take it with you. It's portable. Is that the right word? So I went to put it in the garage with the other sports things, forgetting I put them out in the shed, but he uses it in the front yard, so I actually put it in his off-season bin in the closet. You can see those baskets now on that top shelf. That way he can find it if he needs it. Like when we take it on vacation, we'll know where it is. It's easy to find. And then I'm going through these bags here. For some reason, there was a pile of junk mail in the bag. We set aside things for our college-age kids to give to them when we see them. Why there's junk mail in there and it wasn't in the recycling bin, I don't know. But I'm making a note that the next time my kids come home, they have stuff in the bag so I can remember to actually give it to them. And then when I look down, I see more sneakers and Crocs for my son. So I'm making a note of them because there's certain ones he never wears. Does he want to keep them or not? I'm writing it down to ask him later when he gets back. As you can see, Mozzie in the background, pacing in the garage. At this point, I'm not exactly sure where to go. Do I want to go down low and do shoes? Do I want to do the coat rack next? I wasn't sure. A pair of my daughter's sneakers that have been here since she moved to college in August. Those can go up to her bedroom. Another pencil, and just trying to take care of these things that have been sitting here for a while that just visually clutter up the space. And then the next few minutes, you're going to see me doing something over and over again that's driving me nuts, that I do it whenever I find a shoe, one of the shoe trays, I dump it on the floor rather than into the garbage. So I'm creating more work for myself. Not smart. Another pair of my son's Crocs that he doesn't wear that often. I'm going to put those away. I'll ask him about those later. I'm going to ask my husband if he still wants these shoes later. So I'm making a note because I know I will forget. And then just taking care of those easy to see items. So like I said, if you have only a few minutes, doing these little tasks really make a big difference. I know it's really hard to see 5 minutes making a big impact when I'm doing an entire room. But honestly, this entire room probably took half an hour. So if I have 5 minutes in the morning, maybe 5 minutes in the evening, I'm a third of the way done with this room. If I just did the shoes and organized the coats, that's 5 minutes. Doing the garbage in a flat surface, that's 5 minutes. It's about progress, not perfection. I just happened to have time to do the entire mudroom today. See, there I am, frustrated that I dumped all of that on the floor rather than the garbage. But when we start thinking about doing little chunks of time, we avoid burnout, it makes easier progress, and it adds up really, really quickly. We are all so busy. 5 minutes is really easy to fit into a day. And then on those days where you have more time, being able to do those bigger projects is really nice, but being able to break them down into 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever works for you works really well. I'm really sorry that the angle is so bad. Our mudroom is very small, so to get really good camera angles is very challenging. And then always make sure you build in like a couple minutes at the end of your decluttering session to tidy up, to put your garbage away, to put items that belong elsewhere away, to put your donation box away, to put your neighbor's scooter away so he can find it, but you can finish cleaning the floor. Things like that really do make a big impact. There's nothing worse than spending time decluttering and then leaving a mess for later, which will attract clutter and make more work for you in the future. I also like to clean up the floor because to me, a messy floor makes a whole space feel cluttered. As you can see, there's garbage, there's a pile of leaves. Just being able to take care of that will make my space feel bigger and better. Dusting a piece of furniture, wiping it down, things like that can really make a big impact. Sometimes we forget clutter isn't just items that need to be decluttered and removed from our home. It's actually sometimes just removing anything that really bothers us in our space. And then I'm going to quickly just do a vacuum of the rugs and then a really quick go over of the floor. The broom works great for big items, but it doesn't always get the little things on this floor. I love this floor. It hides dirt well. It's really easy to clean, like mop, but sweeping, it's really not the best. So love vacuuming out here. Just going to make sure that I get this room feeling good, looking good. It'll be very welcoming for my husband and son when they get home later this day. So I thought I was done and I'm like, oh, yay, that was easy. I forgot to do the drawers in the cabinet. So let's get that done quick. I'm glad I remembered to do these. I mean, they're not bad. When I did this declutter out here in October, they were pretty bad and I had to get rid of a lot. But honestly, because I've been decluttering so often, it makes it easier every time I do it. Those drawers are actually staying nice and clean, which is good because they tend to hold a lot of things. So past 6 months, I think I did good. Only one item that needs to go back to church. That's going to be a big win. And here's the mudroom after. Just being able to break it up into like little chunks, if you only have a few minutes, works really well. And honestly, the more you declutter, the easier it gets in the long run. Today was really easy. Tomorrow in my kitchen, probably not so easy. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to join the challenge, I'll have all of the links and all the information on how to do that in the description below. Happy decluttering. Thanks for watching. Bye. It is day 2 of my decluttering challenge, and let's just say I am not looking forward to today's challenge. Hi, welcome back to the channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Shauna and I love sharing easy decluttering and organizing tips. Today's task is my kitchen. I will be doing all of the cupboards, the drawers, and flat surfaces. I'll be doing the fridge and the pantry another day, so I'm not including that today. And my kitchen really is not that bad. We have gone through this so many times that I know I'm probably not going to find much. I'm sure there will be things just randomly tucked in that I will be able to get rid of. So you might be going, if it's not going to be a big project, why are you nervous about it? Why are you not looking forward to it? 2 reasons. First, whenever I declutter, I always say, oh, I'll come back and wipe this shelf down or vacuum this drawer out later. And I never do. Well, today we are changing that and I will be taking the time to get that done. And I don't know how long that's going to take me. So just the unknown about it and that extra step, I'm a little nervous about. And then number 2, I'm very real over here. I can get vulnerable about things that I do well or don't do well. I keep a fairly tidy house. And a lot of that is because I declutter a lot and I have found organizing systems that help me. but when it comes to a clean house, that is not my strong suit. When we put our kitchen in, we put this kitchen in 2019. We moved it from a different room of the house and put it in here. We put in the microwave above the stove just to make sure that we had like counter space, and then we had a vent all in one. Great. Well, it has been a pain in the butt so much. Like the cabinet doors above the microwave are so greasy and dirty and gross, and it is so embarrassing that I just have been putting off taking care of it and just taking the time to clean it because I know it's going to be horrible. I can't believe I'm going to show you this, but this is what it looks like. Yeah. Yeah. It's been sitting there too long. It stresses me out every time I come into the kitchen, and I am not going to let it bother me anymore. Today's the day we're going to tackle it. And then on my note paper, I'm also going to write a note that next week when my husband is on vacation, he can help me figure out how to make the microwave not do that anymore, because I'm tired of it. So here we go, going through the kitchen. I will be sharing 5-minute tasks throughout the video, even though I'm doing the whole kitchen. So if you only have a few minutes, I'll be sharing those tips and tricks for you to make a big impact in just a short amount of time again. I hope you're enjoying that. And then stay tuned to see if I can deal with the grossness that is my cupboards. Let's do this. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the before. It's not going to look that much different in the end because everything we'll be doing today is primarily behind the doors and in the drawers. But famous last words, let me just say that. So before we start, I'm just going to grab my garbage bag for any garbage that I find, and then I'll have my notebook and pencil to take any notes. I should have grabbed a donation box and a container for things that live elsewhere because there was a lot more in this space than I thought. So in the cupboard above my fridge, I store like cake plates and things like that that I don't use often. When I decluttered this cupboard up here in the fall, or even last year, I don't remember when, I said, hey, if I don't use these, I'm going to get rid of them. I just can't quite part with them, but one cake plate, I can do that. I'm going to see if my daughter wants that. She moves into her own apartment in June. Maybe she'll want that. So then we're moving on to the next cupboard and just going through things, tidying up a little bit. This top shelf does get kind of cluttered. We have the accessories for our toaster / air fryer there, and then any like disposable aluminum pans go in there. So if we're using that stuff, it kind of gets jumbled easily, but because it's things we don't use quite as often, I don't really see a need to like make that a different organization system at this point. I know that there won't really be anything in this cupboard that needs to be like removed. I did take out one magnet from my tin of magnets in here, and then did take magnets that we weren't using off of the fridge, which is supposed to be a Thursday task, but it's fine. I'll just take care of it now. So just tidying, wiping down the shelves a little bit. Not that much in here. I was not expecting anything. Also not expecting anything in this cupboard per se. If you only have a few minutes to work, doing one cabinet or even one shelf in a cabinet is a really good use of your time. It's a manageable chunk and such a small focus that 5 minutes, totally doable. Because we do keep our kitchen so clutter-free, an entire cabinet for me is 5 minutes. Because I'm wiping down, it was a little bit more because, like I said, I don't necessarily do this often. So it did take a little bit extra time just to get like any like stickiness or things up. But 5 minutes for a shelf in a cabinet or an entire cabinet is a really great way to spend 5 minutes. I would choose a cupboard that bothers you the most. Like if there is a cupboard that every time you open it, you can't find what you're looking for or things are falling out on you, I would start with that cupboard. Removing anything that's broken, that you're not using, that you want to use, but there's something wrong with it. Like this was years ago, our apple peeler. I loved it because it made peeling my apples and slicing apples easier, but it just really wasn't any faster in the long run because I'd have to sit there and really make my apple be just a certain way. So I got rid of it and I don't miss it. So if there's any gadgets or things like that you don't use, let it go. It's okay. My best friend and I was just in Texas with her for a week and helping her organize her new home. And there were certain things we were talking about, and there's this meme or this audio for like reels that's like technically it works, but it's broken and mangled and really unpleasant. Just because something works doesn't mean we have to keep it, because if it's causing us more frustration in the long run, let it go. It's okay. I give you permission to let those things go today. I'm working clockwise around my kitchen and I'm tackling this shelf. I don't wipe this shelf down as often as I normally do. So another 5-minute task could potentially be, cleaning up your decor. When was the last time you dusted it or tidied it up? Is there anything here that you don't necessarily need? That's another great 5-minute task. Moving on to the next cupboard. This top shelf is just baking items, and they're ones that I don't use often. I have 4 loaf pans. I loved my silicone ones, but the more I use them, the grodier they get, and they just don't get clean. And one of them actually has a hole in it, so I can only bake certain kinds of bread in it. So like I said, broken and mangled, really unpleasant. I'm letting those ones go and then keeping my nicer 2 ones. Another 5-minute task could be going through medicines. If you store your medicines in your kitchen, which we do, going through those. Are there any that are expired that we don't need anymore? Things like that. Another great 5-minute task is to go through medicines. We have champagne flutes and wine glasses. We don't drink a lot of alcohol, but at the same time, when I need them, I need a handful of them. So how do you know how many of these to keep? I don't know. I don't know. So I keep them. I have the storage space for them. They fit in this space beautifully. So I'm keeping them for now. It's just one of those things, I always question if I really need these every time I go through my kitchen. And then continuing on, going through plates and things like that. Great 5-minute tasks is to just go through the things you use daily. Do you have the right amount? Are there anything that you can narrow down maybe? I'm also making room for my ramen bowl. And then there's another bowl my husband loves. These 2 bowls are always in the way. So I actually made space for them. I don't know if it's going to last or work well, but we'll try it. Then the corner cabinet, we have an immersion blender. I don't know if we've ever used it, but it's my husband's. So I wrote down a note to ask him about it later. As I'm continuing in this corner cupboard, I just want to say that unlike the other 2 videos, this video is really not going to have a lot of the 5-minute breakdowns. If you are looking for that, kitchens vary from person to person, so just doing a shelf a day, or for 5 minutes, or a cupboard or a drawer is basically all there really is to a kitchen. You're going to notice that I have 2 teapots. I'm going to keep the one that has the little insert in it for my loose leaf tea, and the other one I'm going to see if my daughter wants that for her apartment because I know she loves tea. But just doing things for 5 minutes, just going through a cupboard or a drawer or utensils and really looking at what you use and what you need is really all there is to a kitchen. I wish there was more magic or big tips that I can give you. It's just working in a system, going clockwise around the space and just doing the hard work of making the decisions. Speaking of hard work, it is time to start working on the nasty, nasty cupboards. So I'm going to clear out this top cupboard. I have mixed some dish soap with hot water that is just hot to the touch. And if you saw that look things are coming up so much easier than I ever would have expected. So basically right now I'm just taking it and I'm just applying it to the cupboards, and if stuff comes off, great, but this way it can start like breaking down the grease and warming it up so it'll wipe off easier. I sped this up a lot because after looking at this for a while, it's going to get really, really boring. But I just want to remind you that the hard work is not glamorous and can be very tedious and boring. It needs lots of water breaks, but you'll feel so much better in the end once you do it. And I found most of the time it's never as bad as I thought it was going to be. Our minds really are so powerful that they can just deceive us really quickly and easily. So yeah, I don't know why I put it off. I know why I put this off for so long, but never again. I wipe down the other cupboards at least once a month, more often if they're dirty. I just need to pull up a chair and do these ones as well. And just remember that this is a safe space here, that I love this community so much. I know that I can share these things and I'm not going to get judged about it. So thank you, my community, for being absolutely wonderful. This is a great place. This is a great place over here on the internet. All right, I'm finishing up my spice cupboard and I just physically feel like I have hit a wall. I mean, you can just see it right here. I just took a break. I had lunch. I rested, refueled, hydrated, and now I'm going to go in. I'm going to wipe down where all the soapy concoction is and put everything back. And then I think I'm just going to quickly do the bottom cabinets and drawers, only vacuuming them out if absolutely necessary. If there's a big mess somewhere, which I don't think there is, then I'll clean that up, but I'm not going to be as thorough as I have been. Up there, the greasy mess is better. It's not perfect, but we are doing progress over perfection, so it's better. I am making progress on it. I'm going to do some research on something that'll work better. So if you have any suggestions on how to get greasy residue off of kitchen cupboards, let me know in the comments because I need a little bit of help here. All right, hopefully this will go much quicker. Let's do it. So I'm just taking a clean rag and some hot water and wiping off the soap scum. And you really can't tell that much on video. And to the normal eye in my kitchen, you can't tell that the cupboards were greasy unless you went looking at them. But I knew. And putting in this hard work, even though it was tedious and it's not perfect, it's not done, I'm going to have to go back and do it again. Just being able to walk into my kitchen and know that it's better brings me such peace. So just a reminder that clutter is not just things we need to remove from our home, it's anything in our house that causes us stress or any bad emotion. So taking care of those things, even when it's hard, is really going to help your mental health and just the peace feeling in your home. Before I put anything away, I need to let those air out and dry a little bit. So we're going to come back over to the area I started in and start working on the lower cabinets. So I know I mentioned that really there aren't many 5-minute magical things to do, but just thinking about your kitchen and going, okay, I can spend 5 minutes going through some spices. I can spend 5 minutes going through water bottles. I can do 5 minutes of the dreaded plastics container. And I have found, as you can see, this cupboard is not bad. Getting rid of the broken lids and the containers that don't work, or these round ones that I love taking salads in, they don't fit in any of our lunch bags. So getting rid of those because I don't use them really makes this cupboard better, and storing lids on containers, so good. Going through, your silverware, your silverware drawer and, vacuuming it out, or, going through the straws, your chopsticks, decluttering some twist ties that always pile up. Doing little things like this, even if you only have 30 seconds to just tidy up your twist ties, can really make a big impact overall really quickly. Don't mind that glare at the camera. I just wanted to make sure I was still in frame, and just going through all of my drawers, just cleaning them up as best as I can really quickly and removing anything that is bulky, broken, that I know we don't use. So we keep some pet items in our kitchen, just the ones that can't be like, you know, extreme cold, extreme heat, anything like that, because our sunroom is not insulated. So those will stay in our kitchen, and just going through those and narrowing it down. You can go through your kitchen cloths and towels, pulling out anything that's like really stained that you don't need anymore, anything that's holey or unusable, going through your anything you keep under the kitchen sink that can be gone through quickly, like cleaning supplies. Are there ones that are any empty bottles, or are there things that like you don't like, or maybe you don't like the smell of, and just let those go. I put everything away in the cupboards now from doing the grease project, and just going through my Lazy Susan really quick. There's really not much in here because it's a tight squeeze. We don't keep a lot in here just because it's hard to get to, just with the placement of the stove and the dishwasher. So just kind of vacuuming up some crumbs, and then going over to this last set of drawers. Pot holders, really great thing to go through in just 5 minutes. If it's frayed or holey, let it go because it's a fire or burn hazard. So that's a really good thing to go through as well. Or like your aluminum foil, your plastic wrap, parchment paper, anything like that. Straighten it up, you know, just going through any empty boxes. Bottom cupboards, bottom drawers, all done. Went really quick. I'm glad that I started with the heavier stuff, but at the same time, that was a lot. I did not expect this project to take as long as it did, even though cleaning those doors was so much easier than I thought it would be. They're not done, but like I said earlier, progress over perfection. I did forget that I have to do the flat surfaces, so I know that nothing over here needs to be decluttered, all of that. I keep that area very tidy and clutter-free just because it can get out of hand really quickly. But I need to do these two utensil things because I know there's at least one thing in here. So we're gonna do that really quick. Is it just me, or as an adult, do we have like a favorite spoon and a favorite spatula? So I'm getting rid of one of our flipper spatulas just because it keeps getting rusty really quickly. We've already bought the replacement. It's time to let it go. Only one item. Now it's time to clean up my mess. Like I said earlier, famous last words with not thinking we needed a donation bin or a bin for things that need to go elsewhere, because, oh my goodness, I did not expect even half of this much to come out of my kitchen cupboards today. And look how much better my cabinets look. You can tell they're still discolored, but progress, right? They're so much better. All right, now it's time to clean up. Always remember that at the end of a decluttering session to leave time to take care of your garbage and your donations and items that need to go elsewhere. And then, like with the mudroom video, I always try to take a couple minutes to just be able to like tidy up the space in general. Like with the mudroom, I swept and I vacuumed. So in here, I'm going to just make sure that the dishwasher has run. I will wipe down all of the counters. I'll wipe down the island and just things like that to really make sure that the space just feels really good and peaceful in here after all of that work. Oh, another 5-minute task that you can do is like refill your soaps. I know that doesn't really feel like decluttering, but the amount of times I've gone to our dish soap dispenser and tried to get soap and I'm not getting much but bubbles the past couple days is really frustrating. So just taking a couple minutes to refill that means that future me is going to be able to get the soap that she needs without the stress. So decluttering, just removing anything from our homes that cause us stress and anxiety or frustration, within reason, of course, because, you know, there's certain things in our life that we have to have that cause that. But like refilling my soap, I can totally take care of that in just a few minutes. And I know that every time I go to use it over the next couple weeks, month or so, it's going to be much better. And now I'm just gonna wipe down my counters with a really good smelling spray, make sure everything is nice and clean, and just feeling really, really good. I spent almost 3 hours in here today. I know that the video does not feel that, but I'm really tired, so having a super clean kitchen that I can step back and look at and just take it in before my husband and son come home was a thing of beauty. So I even spoiled myself and I ended up lighting a candle in here as well, just to make it smell really good and just fresh and cozy as well. It's the little things in life. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some tips that you can apply to your own home when you're decluttering your kitchen. Let me know if you're liking this style of video, or if you want just 5-minute tips or the longer form stuff. Let me know. Happy decluttering. Bye. It's day 3 of my decluttering challenge, and today we're doing the pantry. I'm very excited. I love my pantry. It is not the prettiest pantry. It's smaller than we originally wanted, but I love it so much. My organization systems are working beautifully. I've worked really hard at these, but I know that there are things in there that are expired or we're not eating, and I'm looking forward to creating some more breathing room in there, cleaning it up a little bit, because if you've watched yesterday's video, you know that I keep a tidy house. I don't necessarily keep a clean house, so we'll be doing some cleaning in there as well today. Hopefully it'll be better than the kitchen was, not take me 3 hours, so let's go. Welcome to my pantry. I love this space so much. It has been a labor of love. I love this over-the-door organizer for cans and jars. Over this past year, I've been investing in cereal containers for all of our dry goods. This space makes me really happy, but it needs a little bit of an overhaul today. So let's see what all we can find together, shall we? Today's tools are a garbage bag and then a box or a bin for items that belong elsewhere, and then your paper and pen or pencil to write down anything you need to pick up from the store or any thoughts you might have. And then first 5-minute task I like to do is just go through and find any expired items. If there are items in here that I don't use often, I'm going to write the expiration date on them so it's easier to find and easier to see when I need to use them by. And you know you need to organize your pantry when you find an item that you just bought because you didn't think you had it, but it was just hiding. So yeah, that was fun. But writing those expiration dates is really good because you'll be able to see at a glance, you know, I need to use this item before this one, or ooh, this one expired. And it really helps you see quickly rather than having to search for the expiration dates later and then potentially waste food. So I'm just methodically left to right, top to bottom, going through every item, and there's actually a lot in here that we need to stock up on the store. Like I'm out of like salad dressings, I'm out of tomato sauce and things like that. So you'll see me writing a lot of things down there. I found a mason jar of something that's not labeled. So I set that aside in my bin to ask my husband about later because I don't know what it is or where it came from. So I don't even know how long it's been in here. And then I have these chalkboard labels that are supposed to go on baskets that I hang on this over-the-door rack. And barbecue sauce was not written on any of the shelves, the shelf tags. So I grabbed my chalkboard marker and I added that. I like having those labels because then it makes it really easy to know where to find things, where to put things away, and it is working really well for us for keeping this space organized. So another 5-minute task could be to just label your shelves or label containers and bins so you know where items belong. One thing that I do want to get is like a little container for like our ranch dip powder or gravy mixes because they tend to slide down between the door and the shelf. If I had a container for them, I think it would be a little bit less messy, so I need to just figure out what kind of container would work best for my shelf. We're almost at the bottom down here and it's going really well. And then this soup can, I'm writing the date on it, but I'm actually going to go back in just a second and put some big stars on it because it's going to expire in the next 2 months. And I want to make sure that I see that and I make something with that soup recipe because Gluten-free condensed soups, very expensive. I don't want that money to go to waste. And then last shelf, it's our cranberry sauce. And I am so sad that one of these is actually expired. I don't know how that happened. We love cranberry sauce. We go through so much of it. It's very sad to let that one go. Camera angles are really hard to get because it's a corner pantry. So I'm gonna work this wall, these shelves, we'll readjust and go that way. But I'm just gonna go through everything, make sure that everything is like not expired, any garbage, remove that, because sometimes garbage just ends up in the weirdest spots sometimes. And then shelves that need to be cleaned up or vacuumed, I'll do that at the same time. So here we go. I don't really need to do much with this top shelf. I'm just checking to see how full the containers are to see if I need to restock anything. Those are all my flours and ingredients I need for making my sourdough. And then another 5-minute task is to go through any bins or baskets you may use for storage for your pantry, and just reorganize them, remove expired foods, foods you're not eating. I totally just found something in here that I may have eaten last week that's 18 months expired. I don't know how I've been missing that the past couple times I've gone through the pantry, but going through a basket or a bin or even a part of a shelf is a really quick, easy way to just break a pantry or whatever storage space you use for your food into those small bite-sized chunks. Methodically working my way top down, left to right again, and I'm in our snack bin, or like our treat bin, and there's candy in here that my son got for Christmas, which was over 3 months ago. If it's still here, I don't think he is going to eat it, so I'm putting it into a container and then putting it into the bin for later to ask him about, because either he forgot about it, which is unlikely, or he ended up not liking it. And then moving on to our granola bar bin. There's granola bars in here I bought for my son because I thought he liked them, but apparently he was over them. So I'm actually going to just pull those out, and I'm going to use them to restock our basket in our mudroom that I keep like snacks and drinks for our delivery men in there. So I needed to restock that anyway. So I get to restock it without spending any more money. So that's definitely a win. Another 5-minute task you can do is vacuum up crumbs, because crumbs always appear in pantry areas, and then like wipe down a shelf as well, because things will spill, they'll get sticky or just dirty and dusty. Totally just found something else that I've been eating regularly that expired like a year ago. So yeah, apparently I don't always follow my own advice, and it happens. So if you find things that are super over expired, it's okay. You are not alone, I promise. I do have to say that tidying and decluttering a pantry is a little monotonous, because it's basically you pick a small section, you go through, you find expired food you're not going to eat anymore, pull any garbage or anything like that, then tidy up your items a little bit, reorganize them a little bit, vacuum crumbs, wipe down shelves or bins as needed. It can get a little boring at times. So I always, whenever I'm doing my pantry, I always put on some upbeat music, even though I love decluttering my pantry because I love my pantry and how it feels when I'm done. It still gets a little boring after a while. It's also a good time to like tweak any organizing systems you have. Like this bin is not big enough, so I grabbed a bigger one, and I was able to take that one container and the one that had been next to it, put it all into one container so it has breathing room, so I can put items away easier, pull items out easier, and then I can get to that last cereal container much easier. The next bin was a little bit of a struggle for me because sprinkles don't have expiration dates on them. I did ask Google what their expiration is, and anywhere from 18 months to 3 years. I'm not going to tell you how old some of these sprinkles are, But yeah, it was definitely over 3 years. So we were pushing 10 years on one of them. So yeah, like I said, sometimes things just, you don't even think about how long you've had them for. You just tend to keep them, or you don't even think to look at expiration dates. It's normal, but I really want to be better about thoroughly going through my pantry every time. If you struggle to organize your pantry, I totally recommend using baskets and bins to hold like items. So on the shelf I'm working on now, there was a little basket that had like our baking powder, our baking soda, a small thing of sugar for like when we only need like a tablespoon of sugar for a recipe. I don't have to pull out my big one. And then this shelf is a little bit crazy, just things get piled up really easily. But I have like a bin for all of our ramens and like instant meals. So if we buy like microwave rice or anything like that, that will go in this container. A lot of these ramens, like ones that were a little bit more out there, like that we ended up never trying, were expired, but not all of them, which was exciting. And then like I have a bin that has like our jellies and our honey in it and like Nutella, just to keep those items together. I have bins for like our gluten-free pasta and then like regular pasta, because not everybody in our family is gluten-free. So if they're making a meal that I'm not going to eat, they get to use like regular pasta just to save on the budget. So just trying to break things up into containers helps things stay organized. It helps you know where items go, where to find them, and it helps you to see when you're grocery shopping, when you're making your grocery list, do I need these items or not? Because you know right where to find them. And like I said, I have invested over this past year, a set at a time, these cereal containers. I really do love them. I don't recommend them for everybody, just because I know the process of like decanting items into here can be a pain. It is something that I don't always want to do, but when I do it, it just, like, we can totally see everything in our pantry so much easier. We can find things, we can see at a glance if we need to buy it or not. So that is something that you can do as well. It also helps like during the winter when we may get little critters that decide to invade our home and our cats decide they don't want to be hunters. It protects our food as well. So in just a second, you're going to see me find something really funny. For my son's birthday was Saturday. So every year for our kids' birthdays, we always get them a bag of like their favorite snacks and treats, you know, things we don't always buy them. And they always look forward to that. Well, when my son put all of his snacks and treats away, he accidentally put his package of new shin guards for soccer in the snack bin as well. So when I mentioned to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's where they were." So yeah, that was a little humorous. So you never know what you're going to find in a pantry. I would love to know, what is the weirdest thing you've ever found in one of your kitchen cupboards or your pantry? I would love to know if it beats shin guards. Thankfully, they were still in the original packaging. He hasn't even worn them yet. I didn't have to worry about contamination or anything. But yeah, that totally like brightened my mood. I know the clip was a couple minutes ago, but make sure you are staying hydrated and fueled while you are decluttering, especially if the project takes longer than you thought it would. You need to be taking care of yourself as well, because decluttering and reorganizing can be very draining and taxing on your body. So to make sure that you are taking care of yourself is going to help you feel better in the long run and not get burned out. So if you're doing a longer session, make sure if you have a pause, you have to wait on something, or you have to run and find something else somewhere, grab something to eat while you work and go find something, grab your water bottle, have a few sips of your water, but just make sure you take care of yourself. If you saw me do my pantry in the fall declutter challenge, you'll see that I implemented a new storage system for my potatoes, and a lot of people thought I was crazy and that it was going to be too difficult to get potatoes in and out and keep the area clean. And it is a little bit of work to get my stacked baskets out of the pantry, because I have to move the the cooling racks. I have to move the under the shelf basket. But I rarely have to pull things out to clean because I can actually see my potatoes now and nothing has spoiled. That's not true. We did find one potato that was starting to spoil, but we caught it super early, so it never made a mess. So that's working out. So even sometimes unconventional storage systems work really amazing. Another 5-minute task you can do is to go through your baking pans, like your baking sheets, your muffin tins, and things like that. I actually use all of these ones regularly. I think the only one that I don't use that often is my mini muffin tin, but if I'm making regular muffins and I have way too much batter, I'll just make a few of those as well, so it does come in handy. And then this is our extras bin, so things that don't fit elsewhere, or like lunch bags and things like that will go in here, but we're not packing lunches regularly, so I can move those coolers back out to the garage with the other coolers, so they're still easy to find, but they're not taking up valuable space in my pantry. And then I see that I'm going to have to restock my paper towels, so that could be another 5-minute task, is just restocking your paper goods. Do you store paper towels in there? Or, you know, like your sandwich bags, things like that, organizing those, making sure that they're staying nice and organized. I vacuum my kitchen almost every day, but I rarely pull everything out from the bottom of the pantry. So there were so many crumbs down here and the floor was sticky. So 5-minute task, clean the floor of your pantry if you have an actual pantry. If you have like a built-in cupboard somewhere, you don't have to do that. But, you know, vacuuming your shelves, wiping your shelves down, things like that. Really good, easy way to make a big impact, because once those crumbs are gone, your whole space just looks so much better. But back to my potato organizer, having that tray underneath really kept the shelf cleaner, because any like dirt or anything from the potatoes stayed in the tray, so that was really easy to wipe up and kept my shelf really clean. So patting myself on the back a little bit that I finally found something that worked. Another 5-minute task could be, if you buy in bulk, restocking. We keep forgetting we have these club sodas, so I'm taking the time to restock them before they expire, because they are set to expire in a couple months, and I know that if they stayed in that bin, we would forget about them and we just have to throw them out, and that's money wasted. Hi, can I finish the pantry now? Can I finish the pantry? No? Oh, buddy. As you can see, Mozzie loves my pantry. He loves to just come sit in here. The amount of times that I've accidentally closed him in here is a little embarrassing, but once I started moving things in, he was just like, no, you've ruined my peace and quiet. But I have decluttered so much today and found homes for things that my extras bin is actually empty. I love empty spaces because it means my items have room to breathe. And when I say that, I mean that like it's easy to put items away because things aren't just jam-packed in your space. It's easy to put things away. It's easy to pull things out. You don't have to struggle to remove anything. And then I think this is my last shelf. Totally forgot to hit record when I was scrubbing and putting things away, but that shelf looks a lot better as well. I am planning on repainting shelves this summer because some of them need some touch-ups, but oh my goodness, there was so much in my pantry today. I didn't expect a lot of this, but it feels so much better. And then I did go back after I filmed the next clip, which is the reveal, and I did put labels, matching labels on other bins that weren't labeled before, just to make it cohesive. And like I said, really easy to find things. So taking 5 minutes to label items in bins is really good. And it just, not a big change in here, but it just feels so much better. So I hope you enjoyed this video today and the tips for decluttering your pantry. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's something that maybe I missed. But I hope you're enjoying my spring declutter challenge. Don't forget to join. All the info is in the description below. Happy decluttering. I'll talk to you later. Bye. It's day 4 of my declutter challenge, and today I will be doing the fridge. So today's tasks are to clean off the top of it, make sure there's nothing on the outside that does not need to be there, doing the fridge itself and deep cleaning it, and then doing the freezer. Our fridge is fairly empty right now, which is a great time to declutter a fridge because that means there's less to go through, which is less work, which I am a big fan of. Our freezer is very full. I'm not sure if there's items in there that need to go to the big freezer in the garage, and that's why it's so full. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like when I tackle that as well. Now, keep in mind, my fridge is very messy. That is something that it was a habit I was working on last year in 2024. At least once a week, I was wiping the shelves and all the bins out, and then once a month, like doing a deep clean. But my 2 college kids came home over the winter for Christmas break, and a lot of my habits and routines kind of fell by the wayside, and this is just one of them that I have not picked back up. So it's a little grody in there, and it's a little embarrassing, but like I said, this is a safe place. I thank you for not judging me, and I will never judge you or anyone that I see on the internet who has issues with cleaning or decluttering. We all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses, and like I've said in the past couple of videos, I keep a tidy house, I don't necessarily keep a clean house. So it's going to be interesting today again. So enough talk, let's get to it. And here are the ins and outs of our fridge. As you can see, the top definitely needs a little bit of help, but the outside really is not a lot. I do really try to keep this clutter free just because the visual clutter does bother me. And then the inside of the fridge, like I said, it's a little on the empty side right now, but definitely will need a good wipe down. Actually, as I'm looking through the footage, it does not look as bad as it does in person, which is a little odd, but I know there will be things in here that need to be removed, and I'm hoping to rearrange and reorganize the freezer because it's just not working for us right now. If you only have a few minutes and you want to declutter your fridge, I always recommend starting on the outside because that is going to make a really big impact on your entire space very quickly. So your first 5-minute task is to start with the top of the fridge. I don't try to store a lot up here. There will be items like non-perishable items that we buy from the store for dinners, like chips or special rolls, that we will put up here just because if they get put into the pantry, they will be eaten before we need them. And then this basket has like my special treats or special treats for certain occasions. And that way they are kept separate. Nobody eats mama's treats. And then we have, like candy canes for our Christmas, or like Peeps for roasting, or various treats like that. And then if you still have time, or a different 5-minute task could be taking care of the front of your fridge or the sides of your fridge. And now I am preparing myself to go in, but of course I forgot my supplies. You need a garbage bag. I have my notebook for writing down any food that we need to replenish at the store, and then soapy water with a scrubber and some rags to wipe down and dry the inside of my messy fridge. 5-minute task for doing your fridge, the inside of it. I recommend starting with the inside of a door. If you have a lot in there, doing just one bin or shelf on your door, looking right away for anything that is expired, or there's food in there that you bought but you ended up not liking. Getting rid of those are quick, easy things to do that are going to make space and make finding what you do use and love that is still good to use so much easier. And then wiping down as time allows any sticky spots, spills, even in the containers themselves, because some bottles like chocolate syrup or ketchup, they tend to get dirty really easily. So I'm going to do that and then write down on my list a few other things that we need to buy, like we need more chocolate syrup and I'm going to need some more dressing. And then going over to the second drawer and then repeating that 5-minute task, looking for expired, unused items, and just wiping up the mess as I find it. One thing that was really frustrating me is that there is no universal spot for best by dates on these items. Sometimes it's on the bottom, sometimes it's on the container, sometimes it's on the label, sometimes it's on the lid. It's not cohesive. So I spent so much time looking for expiration dates that it just felt like a waste of time. I wish it could be more cohesive. Oh, ignore me as Jasmine, our cat, was trying to eat the dog's food. She didn't think that I could see her. She thought I was too busy. So she tried to sneak a little bite and I caught her, and it's on film. So she can't deny that she was being naughty. So this part is definitely a little monotonous, especially as we are a family who loves to cook and have variety of different foods. So the amount of sauces we have is a little overwhelming, which is why doing this door is taking me a little bit longer than I would like. And then, of course, like things like the maple syrup spilled a little bit, and there's a little bit of jelly, so it was extra sticky. So cleanup was a little bit more than I was anticipating as well. Oh, and then not only is there no cohesive spot for best by dates, some items don't even have them on them. Or maybe I'm just blind, but I did realize that that bottle of Worcestershire sauce we did buy recently because the store we normally buy it at was out. So because it's a different label, I know that it was bought at least in 2025. All right, doors are done. I am moving on to the shelves, and I'm working top down, left to right, and scrubbing as I go. I don't know what spilled. Actually, no, I do know what is on there. So this shelf and then the one below it, I thought it might have been like yogurt, but there had been a container that my sourdough discard was in, and it leaked. So it's like sourdough discard. Organizing hack for your fridge. If there are like condiments you use all the time, put them in a separate bin. That way you can just pull them out. So like we have like our mustard, our relish, our salsa, and ketchup in this one bin. So when we have like certain dinners like hot dogs or burgers, we can just pull that entire bin out if we wanted to. And it makes putting away things so much easier, and it keeps them corralled, especially when we have so many sauces in our fridge. But a 5-minute task could be just going through your condiments, because that is a great, quick, easy thing to do when you are trying to declutter your fridge. In a minute, you're going to see that I messed up. I just went the top shelf to this one, forgetting the half shelf on the left. You can't really see it here, but as I was trying to clean, I was trying to not get crumbs on my freshly cleaned shelf. I think I did pretty good, but I should have done top right, then the shelf on the left, and then the second shelf on the right. But it's okay. It's still clean. It's still fine. It's okay. All right, confession time. If you saw me make that weird face at the camera, I just found something very weird and random in my fridge that has been there since November. It's wet paintbrushes in a bag from when I worked on the sets for Once Upon a Mattress for our school's musical. That's a hack. If you have wet paintbrushes and you think you're going to use them again, wrap them in a plastic bag, put them in your fridge. They won't dry out. Those paintbrushes, it's April 10th. We're still wet 5.5 months later, which is incredible, but very random. So if you have ever found anything weird in your fridge, let me know what you found. Is it weirder than wet paintbrushes? I'd like to know. All right, moving on to the veggie drawers. These drawers are probably the things I was most nervous about, because it just is so easy for items to get lost in here, and then you never know what you're going to find, and it's going to be gross. So I think this right here, between the dried sourdough discard on the shelves that had to be cleaned up and these bins, I think that's what has been keeping me from tackling this fridge, just because it has been so long. It's been probably 4 months since I've deep cleaned this fridge. I mean, if I find something icky, of course I'll get rid of it, but like actually intentionally going in and wiping things down and going through things, it's probably been 4 months. And I was beyond shocked how good these bins looked. So, 5-minute task, go through a veggie drawer. Hopefully it'll be good. Sometimes there's little science experiments growing in the corners, but I was actually pleasantly surprised with how good these bins looked. Putting the bins back in the fridge though was a little challenging just because part of the support broke fairly quickly after we got the fridge. Like, it still works okay, but getting the drawers in is a little bit of a pain, and it actually rubs on it. So when I was vacuuming out where the drawers go, there's little bits of plastic there from it rubbing. So I had to make sure that we got those cleaned up. There was no plastic in the food drawers or anything like that. Luckily it was all between the drawers, like on the floor, the shelf underneath them. At this point, I was starting to feel tired. I usually feel tired doing a decluttering challenge around day 4, and because my dog had me up at like 4 o'clock this morning and did not let me get back to sleep, I was pretty tired. So I put on some upbeat music. So a couple times you'll catch me dancing, forgetting that I'm recording this. Don't judge my moves, and just trying to keep myself, going, the momentum going, and keeping the energy up. I pulled out the entire drawer that we use for our cheeses and things like that. At that point, was like, I shouldn't have done that because I didn't realize how it was put in there. But it's fine. Drawers out, it's going to be easier to clean that way. As I started working on this drawer, I did pull out a really long, thin box. That is an organizing hack. If you have like a drawer that you can't always see the very back of, don't be afraid. Oh, ignore my dancing. It's really bad. I'm so sorry. That you can't see the back of. Put something back there to keep items from getting shoved behind. That box has saved us so much, like cheese and other dairy products, because things can't get pushed back anymore. It can't get lost, can't get ruined. And also, don't be afraid to use containers to break up these bigger drawers. I love this drawer, but things get so messy that I have these little tiny square containers. I bought these years ago, probably oh my gosh, I can't even remember, 12 years ago at the Target dollar spot. They were $1 each. We've used them for organizing doll supplies. We've used them for organizing babysitting kids' items. And now they work in our fridge and they keep it organized. They keep things clean. It makes me really, really happy. All right, now fingers crossed that I can get this drawer back in and it'll clip to the sides. And that was probably the easiest part of the entire fridge declutter, was putting that drawer back in. As much as I'm hating the cold, I'm glad it is a colder day, because the amount of times that I've forgotten to close the fridge doors, everything was staying cold. Even the inside of the fridge was staying cold. So I'm very thankful. Quick dance and water break, and we are ready to move to the freezer. My big goal for this is to create a spot for breakfast items, because breakfast items are getting shoved every which way. So that is something that I need to tweak in here. So I'm hoping that the front of the ice pack drawer can become the breakfast drawer, because what used to be there, we're no longer purchasing. And when it comes to a 5-minute hack for your freezer, it's very similar to the fridge. Go through and look for expired items you're no longer eating, items that are freezer burned, and just wipe down any spills. I'm not sure how chocolate sauce got spilled in here, but the chocolate sauce in the left drawer I thought was pretty bad, but then when I started working on the bottom right drawer, it was everywhere. So that was a little gross. Also, don't be afraid to use, again, baskets to contain little items. The ice packs always get in the way and go everywhere. So the basket that we are no longer using because we stopped purchasing items, I just moved it to the back of the drawer to hold the ice packs. And then I had room for the miscellaneous breakfast items, and the drawer closed. It felt really good. And then this bottom right part, it has things like side dishes, and that's where our baking usually lives. That's where we keep extra cheese that we freeze and There are frozen like zucchini in here, which doesn't even belong in here. That belongs in the garage freezer. But it was so freezer burned and like 3 years old because one of them said 2022 on it. So letting those go, continuing to clean up, vacuum as needed. And then the miscellaneous items like the sliced cheese or like tomato paste that we frozen go back into the basket that I washed. And then the cheese can all sit in front of it. I'll move the bacon up to the breakfast section. And it came together really easily, which is fabulous because it is cold in my house, because it is so cold outside and I get cold really easily. I swear I'm part lizard. So if it's below 80 degrees, I'm freezing. So I actually didn't need anything to warm my hands up today. But here is the after of my fridge. You know, it is good when your husband comes home from work, opens up the fridge to find a snack and goes, "Wow, hello, clean fridge. I noticed." And he's very excited because he noticed it. And then you get really excited because your husband noticed your hard work. So very thankful, highlight of my day. It feels so good to open it. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you got some tips and tricks for decluttering and reorganizing your fridge and freezer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Happy decluttering. I'll talk to you later. Bye. It's day 5 of my spring declutter challenge, which means it is the end of week 1. And I'm so glad that I know myself well enough that I gave myself a really easy job for today. Today's task is my downstairs half bathroom. Now I say this is really easy because I know that this room is a clutter magnet. I don't know what it is about this room, but clutter attracts here more than almost any other spot in my home. I think the only areas that attract more clutter would be flat surfaces in the kitchen and the living room. This is definitely in the top 5 clutter magnet areas in my home. So I, at least once a month, will go through and do a very quick declutter, making sure that I remove any garbage, make sure nothing is getting put in these drawers that doesn't belong here. So I'm not anticipating a lot in here today, but I know it definitely needs a little bit more attention. It has been a little bit longer since I have gone through here. And I think there might actually also be a little bit of tweaking that needs to be done to my organizing system. So we'll see if I can make that work today. But enough talk, let's get into some decluttering and organizing bathroom tips today. Welcome to our half bath. It's the only bathroom on the main floor of our house, and while it's on the small side, it suits our needs well. If you can believe it, the sink used to be right where the towel hamper is. It was very cramped, so once we remodeled, we decided to move it across the room, and it is working out perfectly. As I said before, this vanity gets very cluttered, so I have some organizing systems that have been working great, but I just know a little bit of tweaks here and there, it's going to be even better. I do apologize for the angle. The bathroom is so small, it's hard to get a good angle, but I have my trusty notepad and pencil for taking notes, and then I'm using the garbage can for any garbage I find. And today I'm actually not speeding up my decluttering process. This is me working in real time, and the reason I'm doing that is twofold. First, bathrooms hold a lot of items, so I have a lot of tips coming at you today, so stay tuned. And number 2 is I was talking to a friend this week, and she made the comment of how it must be so easy to make decisions so fast and declutter so fast. So I've realized that sometimes speeding up my process is a disservice to others. I have been doing this for over a decade, so it is easier now that I've done it so much that decision making is easier. But as you will see in a little bit, there are times I will just stand there and not know what to do, and it feels like forever in the moment. It's really not that bad, but I just wanted to show you that it really is a slow process for me as well. So your first 5-minute task is to go through hair items. If you notice, I am knocking this over all the time. I am clumsy. My parents nicknamed me Grace for a reason because I don't have any. But going through your hair items, is there anything broken? Any stretched out scrunchies or hair ties? Does your brush still work? Is it falling apart? Looking through these items can be a really quick task to do. I do my hair and my makeup in this downstairs bathroom, which frees up the upstairs bathroom, which has the only shower in our home, for others to shower. I do have hot tools down here. They are not stored in this bathroom because I don't use them every day, and because the bathroom is so small, I need that space for other items we use more often. So right outside the bathroom is our cleaning closet. My hot tools are in a basket on the floor of that. Works out beautifully. 5-minute task number 2, go through your makeup. This bag holds all of the makeup that I have. I am very, very low maintenance. I do go through this often, but even just taking a few minutes to at least put a small dent into your makeup collection and going through, is there anything broken, empty, anything like that, can really be a good place to start. Also go through hair products. Anything expired? Is there anything you don't like? I bought this hair product for my son. He liked the smell of it, but didn't like the way it felt on his hair. We've tried it. I don't know why I'm still keeping it. 5-minute task, go through your hand towels. I could have sworn that one of these was either stained or had a hole. I must have been just remembering it wrong. But looking over your hand towels, are they absorbent? Do they still feel good on your hands? That's a great, quick, and easy thing to do. Also, go through your toothpaste. Toothpaste expires. We get a bunch from the dentist, but with all 5 of us in the house, because my older 2 will just leave their little tubes here, we don't go through it fast enough. So between our bigger bottle, like our bigger tubes, and then the little tubes, they end up expiring. And, could we just use the free ones from the dentist first? Sure, but then we like to save those for when we travel, so we don't have to pack the big tubes. So could we work on that a little bit? For sure. And then, as you can see, I'm going through the toothpaste and checking the expiration dates. I feel really bad that some of these have expired. Could we still use them? Probably, but I don't know, part of me gets weirded out by that. So let me know in the comments, do you get weirded out by expired items? Are some things okay and others not? Where do you draw the line with expired items? I'm curious, let me know. But over in this side is kind of where my organizing system isn't quite right. I have little containers over here to hold, the extra heads for my son's electric toothbrush, the extra toothpaste, some travel flossers, and some travel toothpaste, not travel toothpaste, the plastic protector to put on your toothbrush when you travel, that thing. So it's working, but it's not quite right. So I'm just trying to figure it out. This green container doesn't quite fit back there. So I'm actually trying to move the toothbrushes from this long container I have in the front to the back section, see if that'll work. And then the toothpaste all fit really nice in that container where the toothbrushes had been. So I'm just trying to see if there's a way to make this function a little bit smoother and use the space better. I really don't know if it's going to work. I would really love for our flossers to go into a container, but I know that if they're in here, we're never going to put the lid on them. We've tried it before and then they get gross. So in the bag they'll stay. I'm not very happy with how the drawer is right now, but I'm going to let it just kind of sit in my head for a little bit. I'm going to move on to the bottom drawer and just continue working and processing through it. Another 5-minute task, remove garbage. There was some garbage in this bin, so throwing it out. Another quick task is to look through medicines. We keep cough drops down here. Are they expired? Do we need to get new ones? If you keep medicines in your bathroom, that's a quick and easy thing you can do, is to just start looking for expired items. And then another task, go through your washcloths. Our main washcloths are upstairs because we have those upstairs for the shower, but I do keep this basket of baby washcloths. I know. My kids are anywhere from 15 years old to 20 years old. I know that blows a lot of people's minds because I don't look or act old enough to have kids that age. these are still from when they're babies, but they still work really well. My family rarely uses them, but having just a handful on hand is really handy sometimes. So I decided with this green container, I will keep a few, but only enough that fit in this container. So I'm using the container method. If they don't fit in the container, I don't get to keep them. I'm keeping my favorite ones, the ones that are really soft. And now I'm just trying to rearrange this bottom drawer. We are out of mouthwash and I keep forgetting to buy it at the store, so it's going to go onto my list. So I need to keep room for that. And I'm just trying to figure out the best arrangement of this drawer now that will work once I have everything here. It's kind of hard to organize when not everything that goes in your space is here, but sometimes we can't help it. Another 5-minute task, go through your medical products. Make sure your Band-Aids are still good, hydrogen peroxide, your antibiotic ointment, things like that. Make sure the expiration dates are still good, because with things like that, you want to make sure that they are working the best that they can. So adding a bunch of things to my shopping list. I will be going shopping tomorrow and replenishing things that I've noticed were low on throughout the week. And really just trying to figure out this drawer. I really don't like the little container down here. I feel like it's getting lost. So I actually get an idea to maybe move it back to the top drawer. I'm not sure how that's going to work because we're so used to looking for it in the bottom drawer, but I feel like it won't get lost up here as much. So I decided to move the travel things over to the other container, take the washcloths out of the green container, and all of a sudden it worked. I'm really happy now that it feels so good and organized, and I have 2 empty containers. So it's not exactly what I was thinking would happen, but I'm not mad about it either. I just took this out of the bathroom because we don't need it. I'm wondering if this will fit on the shelf of the pantry door, because this would be a really good size for like the ranch dip mix and the gravy mixes and stuff. So let's go see if this will fit. All right, so far so good. And I don't have to spend any money on it. I love it. Oh, that's so perfect. I do not know if I'm more excited that this bathroom is done or the fact that I found that container for the dip mixes. Like, that was perfect. Very unexpected. I knew that the systems needed to be tweaked in here, but I didn't expect to actually get rid of any containers and like empty any. And I got 2 empty containers. Makes me very happy. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will be taking the weekend off of decluttering, but let me know in the comments below. Are you decluttering this weekend? Where are you starting? I'd love to cheer you on. Thanks so much for watching. Happy decluttering. I'll talk to you later. Bye.